It's Song Talk Radio with Michael, Neil, Phil, and the gang.
Welcome to Song Talk Radio. This is a show with songwriters talking to other songwriters about the craft of songwriting. We share tips, tools, and techniques, and together we all become better at writing songs. I'm your host, Neil Modi, and with me are the winterized members of the Song Talk Radio action team. We have Fireplace Phil.
I might be hot, but I'm cool and kind of cold.
Okay, that's not much of a roast, but okay. And we have Muffler Mike.
I don't know how to respond to that. You mean the muffler like a scarf muffler?
Well, presumably. I mean,
Okay,
suppose if
that's
your
the
muffler
only
falls off your
winter-
car in the middle of winter, you're in trouble. So
That's true.
suppose.
there is
Well, it's-
that.
It's very
I want to be
flexible.
here, and it's important to stay warm.
Yes. Please send your comments and questions to at Song Talk Radio on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or feedback at songtalk.ca for the good old-fashioned email, and we'll share your thoughts on the show. And please visit us at songtalk.ca to find out how you can be a guest. And speaking of sending us emails, Phil, we've got some listener email to share.
We get letters, lots of letters. And this one is from Greg from Pennsylvania.
Hi, Greg from Pennsylvania.
Hello, Song Talkers. I wanted to mention an iPhone app, which is, as far as I know, the only electronic tuner that is usable by a blind musician. It's called Talking Tuner and is absolutely fantastic and should be widely recognized and promoted. A question, if anyone of you can help. My microphone mixer died, and with supply chain issues and COVID, I have been unable to find a suitable replacement that a blind person can use, as touchscreens are becoming very popular. My needs are simple: tactile controls, 2 XLR mic inputs with phantom power, more are fine, the ability to pan those inputs to a stereo audio out. USB out is a bonus, but not necessary, as I usually record song ideas from a mixer into a digital audio recorder. For what it's worth, for blind listeners, Olympus LS100 has spoken menus and great mic preamps. Thanks, signed Blind Greg in Pennsylvania.
Wow. That's really interesting. It's the sort of thing you don't really think about if you're sighted.
Yes. Well, and it's interesting, because there, even sight impaired people still use the internet, so that they use spoken menus like through the browser. It's quite fascinating, actually.
Yeah. You got PDFs and documents read to them and things like that.
So I replied to Greg, and I had mentioned that I thought a Behringer makes some sort of good smaller mixers that are fairly affordable, but very tactile, just like lots of buttons. All the plugs are on the top, so it's easy to kind of, to locate the various plugs and inputs with your hands. So I thought that would work. I think an F02 or Behringer 502 was one that could be good. So that's what I thought. But if anyone has any suggestions out there in listener land for Greg, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to hear about something that, like a mixer that actually has, like, talks back to you. Like he was talking about something like that. That I've never encountered something like that has.
Well, I think you may be speaking about the digital audio recorder, but if you're going to use any kind of technology, if there's not actual switches, you need to have some kind of audio feedback about what's happening.
Yeah, for sure. If everything is like a touchscreen interface or something, then that takes away the tactile nature of things. So yeah.
Yes. So anyone with a suggestion on a mixer and possibly audio recorder that would work for Greg, please let us know.
For sure. Okay, thanks for that, Phil. And Mr. Mike, we are gearing up for a songwriting challenge for this year. Let's get the lowdown.
I will. I just want to give you a quick bit of news. Adele, who you may have been hearing about lately because she has a new album out that's racing to the top of several charts. She's announced that she's going to be doing a Las Vegas residency. She'll be playing Vegas on weekends, starting in January, into January.
Weekends.
All right.
Yeah, and so you can apply for tickets. There's some sort of pre-sale coming up. So you Adele fans, and I know there are lots of you.
I like Adele.
Yeah,
I like her quite a bit, actually.
fantastic voice. And yeah, really good. I was reading a really interesting review of her album in the New Yorker. So I'm keen to hear the whole thing. But speaking of songs that you can't wait to hear, the third annual Song Talk Song Challenge is underway. This year, the idea of the challenge was that listeners would send in suggestions for a title and we would write to the title. We got dozens and dozens of titles. It was very nice to go through them all. And the way we did it is we each separately chose our top three and then compared them, and if there was any overlap, we would choose from that. And there was one that overlapped, and that came from our listener, Anne Bicoy, from Toronto, and the suggestion is to write a song entitled, Why Do You Cry? And that's what we're going to do. Why Do You Cry? So all of our listeners, please take up the gauntlet as well. We'd like to hear what you do with that challenge. We will be presenting our versions of what we did with this title in February. And then after that, we'll be presenting some of what our listeners have done with the title challenge, Why Do You Cry?
Did Anne put a question mark at the end of that? Why do you cry?
I don't know. I could go back and check.
I believe actually there is a question mark because it has to be. Isn't it a question?
Matter?
It feels like it
exactly.
should
It does
be.
seem like a question. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, punctuation maybe isn't that important in a song title.
No.
No, even songs that have questions, like "Are You Gonna Go My Way," don't often have the question mark in the title.
True that, yeah.
That's true. Yeah, there
Or
was some
sometimes
great.
you don't need it, like "Just the Two of Us." Just the two of us? You know, sometimes it could change the song.
That's true.
Yes.
That would
All
be
right.
actually.
So, in other words, the
good.
question mark is optional.
That's
Another
true.
brick in the wall?
Another brick in the wall.
So the question mark is optional. The song title is "Why Do You Cry?" We will good God, we will be presenting our songs in February, and then after that we will be featuring some of our listener songs. So take some time over the holidays and write us something beautiful,
Yeah. Or
or
sad.
stirring, or uplifting, or comic, whatever you want to do with it.
Great,
Why
great
do you
suggestions.
cry?
Why? Why? It's
Why would you cry?
we had some great a great variety of inputs and suggestions, and it's I've never actually written from a title before. This will be a first for me, and what I thought was really interesting is I think the ones that work the best are the ones that are sort of like normal statements or questions, or like as opposed to some wacky combo of words. It's actually sort of something that's like, I miss you, or so's your mother, something like that,
Yeah, it seemed that some of the titles, I think, were sent in to be a challenge. Like, how
Yes.
could you possibly write a song about that? So they didn't make the list.
That's true.
They didn't make the short
Yeah.
list.
We did
They
appreciate
were
it,
on the
though.
list.
We did
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting point, Phil, because if it's something obscure, then I mean, arguably for a challenge, then you do get perhaps more differing answers to a title that's something obscure, because it can be interpreted in so many different ways. Why do you cry? It's going to send, I don't want to say everyone, but it's going to send most people in maybe similar-ish directions. I don't know.
That's a point. Yeah,
Well,
that's an
perhaps
interesting
you'll
point.
be surprised.
I think I
But
will be
even,
surprised at how much variety
I mean,
comes
is it
out of
about a romantic relationship? Is it a father to a child, a parent to a child? Is it? I think it can go a lot of interesting ways. What I liked about it was that it, I think, as you said, Phil, it suggests something emotional, and that's good.
Good starting place.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, excellent starting place. I absolutely agree. And yeah, and like
So
I said,
thank you very much, everyone who submitted. It was great to have so many to choose from, and we all look forward to working on our
yeah,
upcoming
it's gonna
song.
be a fun one. Okie
And then
dokie.
we're going to video it, we're going to film it, and we're going to perform it on a roof somewhere.
That's right.
Okay.
Roof of a Harvey's.
Yeah. Okay, tonight we are welcoming singer-songwriter Greg Wyard, and here's a little taste of his new upcoming song, "Working Like a Charm."
It wasn't perfect when we met. The stars aligned, a big sunset. The choir of angels ever sang hallelujah.
Greg Wyard is a singer-songwriter originally from Essex, England, who grew up in Canada in the 80s and 90s. He's well known around Toronto as a solo performer, adept at singing, and alternately playing guitar and bass with a loop pedal to create full-blown band-like performances of covers and originals. He also performs and records his original songs with his five-piece band, the Greg Wyard Band, who are currently working on Greg's fourth album to be released in 2022, featuring the first single, "Working Like a Charm." The band has been performing frequently at Toronto venues such as the Dakota Tavern and the CNE before COVID, and plans to return to live performance once the album is complete. Stylistically, Greg's music falls into the classic rock retro pop category of artists such as the Beatles, ELO, Squeeze, and Peter Gabriel. Welcome to Song Talk Radio, Greg.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Awesome to
Hello,
have you.
Greg.
I wanted to ask you, Greg. I think the first time I actually saw one of your videos, someone on Facebook or something had shared one of your videos, one of my friends or something, and it was you doing a cover song. I'm assuming it was with Looping Pelic. I don't quite remember, but it was Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody, and I was blown away by how like accurate and like that's a challenging song to do with one instrument and one and one
Yeah.
a vocalist. But what I wanted to ask you was the role of cover songs as an artist. Like, what do you find that they're good for study for your own original work, or are they more a marketing tool to get you noticed?
Right. Oh, that's a good question. Because obviously, you are influenced by the cover songs that you enjoy. So there's definitely elements, to take from it, songwriting techniques and arrangements. But I also, I mean, that particular song was sort of a party piece that I played because it was unusual to see somebody play that as a solo song. So I did kind of use that as a bit of a hook, I guess, sometimes to, get people's attention, and then I can play one of my own songs. So little bit of that, I suppose, in there too. But as far as like songwriting, I mean, I don't think I write in that style necessarily, but a lot of bands like Squeeze or ELO or that kind of thing, that's more my wheelhouse for songwriting.
Do you follow any of the sort of modern song structures? Like the way songs are constructed now is very different because things are listened to via streaming. So everyone says, you need to get the hook in, within the first 20 seconds or something, or 30 seconds, or
If you skip it in 30, it doesn't count or something.
something like that. Whereas I noticed some of your stuff has, some fairly long intros, which I quite
Yeah.
enjoyed. But so what do you think about this new structure? Are you like writing for streaming?
I'm kind of defying it in some places and then going with it in others. I have a song on this album as well, which I am considering trying to follow all those norms. Get the intro over quickly, start the vocal, get to the chorus early. But to me, it's the priority isn't to write a hit album. You know, I know I had that intro with, you know, bringing the instruments in one by one, and then the vocal comes in. You know, so I guess I'm stubborn as far as wanting to stick to the old things that I like. You know, I like in older tunes. But like I say, this album, it's probably half, maybe 2/3 self-indulgent that way, and then hopefully something to tip the scale, you know, for the pop sensibilities as well. You know,
Have you ever noticed or taken a metric in those regards? Like look at your Spotify plays and said, oh yeah, those ones where I hit the chorus right off the top without any introduction, those ones that get more plays, or something like that, or does it?
Well, yeah. I mean, Spotify hasn't really done a whole lot for me yet. You know, I mean, I haven't done much of the, you know, the blitzing to try and get people to join. You know, but the organic crowd that comes to hear me doesn't necessarily listen to all the music on Spotify. I think a lot of them. So I know I need to work on that aspect. I have to say, you know, like just because obviously I want people to listen and buy this product, but it's not the overwhelming desire, you know, to cater to that formula, I guess. Yeah.
What about your songwriting process then? Do you how do you usually start a song? Is there a usual way to start a song, title or chord progression or melody or?
It's a lot of noodly 8-bar phrases. You know, I'll come up with something like that particular song. That was a Rhodes piano, as a drum loop, and then a Rhodes piano part that I played along with it. You know, and then I just sang. And that actually was an example of a song that never changed. The original of that was the whole way through, and then I later put a chorus in it. But yeah, even now, like the other songs that I'm got on this album, usually started with an acoustic guitar riff, you know, and then recording it and then singing some words and coming back to it and trying to make it into something. Sometimes that works. Sometimes you got to get rid of all the words and start again, you know. But a lot of reworking. I am a laborious reworker of songs. Sometimes taking a bit too much time, but I get there in the end.
How do you handle your lyrics? Are you sort of like music first, then lyrics, or are you starting off with lyrics, or?
Pretty much always music first, then lyrics. I found a few techniques for brainstorming techniques that helped. I forget the guy, but he has a YouTube video where he says, you know, set a timer for 3 minutes and then just write down the first thing that comes into your head on a subject, and then stop, and then do it again. You know, and it's hard on your brain, but eventually you do start coming up with stuff, and I've done that as a way to sort of collect thoughts. But then I go through and try and finesse it and make it more everyday English, you know, or speakable.
Are you working on multiple songs all at the same time, or do you sort of start one, finish one, and then move on to the next?
Yeah, I'd say it's very often multiple songs going on. You know, even now I'm still finessing the words, you know, of different songs because I need to get it finished, so I will stop doing that. You know, but yeah, I'm not really a complete to the end. I mean, we sort of got a bit sidelined with as everybody did with the pandemic, you know, because I was planning to go in with the band early in 2020, and you know, and force myself to have a deadline and finish this thing, and then of course we didn't play for a whole year, you know, and so everything sort of sat there, and we did some stuff via sending tracks. Like Troy, the drummer, sent me his tracks, but and I want to get together with the guys now, but you know, it's people still don't feel completely comfortable, you know, getting together with the families members, and so I understand that, you know. So it would have, I think it would have come quicker had we been able to get together. So that, you know, it will get there, but it's taken a while.
So the track that we heard a little bit of, is that all you, or is the band some of the members on that as well?
Actually,
Or is
that
all
is
you?
that is the band members. Yeah, that's Troy Feener on the drums. I did the piano and the bass on that recording, and then Russell Gray's playing the lead in that. So some of that, yeah, I've sort of fleshed out a lot of the tunes, planning to replace the real instruments from the guys, whenever we can get together.
So was everything sort of recorded remotely then? Like everyone did
Yeah,
their
well,
separate parts?
We haven't done the whole band on the whole album yet. I've still got my. Another thing was I lost my voice a year ago, so I couldn't record any vocals for a good 6 months, and I ended up buying a Japanese program called Vocaloid, made by Yamaha, which is like a robot voice. It sounds crazy, but as a way to just be able to put the vocals into my songs, so I could play around them. I made the robot sing all the words, and I've only now replaced them. So that kind of slowed things down as well. The fact that I couldn't sing.
Like an interesting B-side.
For many months. Yeah.
Yeah, the robot version.
Robot
So
when you, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say they use this thing in a lot of the K-pop, where they use, sometimes they have those they're just like virtual singers on stage.
Yeah.
And this is the program that they use to generate the voice for the virtual singers. So anyway,
bizarre.
the English version isn't as phonetically accurate as the Japanese one, I guess, but it's pretty good. It's good enough.
Wow. What are they going to come up with next, eh?
I know, right?
So for all the songs on this album, are they connected in any way, or are they just the songs that you have recorded recently?
I guess they are. It's funny because I did a lot of relationship songs up until this point, and I cut back on that. That was always my go-to topic. My love life and things that go wrong and blah blah. And I was really trying to do some issue songs in this one. Like address things that are happening around me. And for instance, I've got one called Guns and Money, which is sort of a political song. I'm not mentioning any names in it, but just the general tone of how those things can be important in politics. I've got another one called Before You Know It, which is about cancel culture, like sort of a warning to people. It could all come tumbling down if somebody finds dirty laundry on you, that sort of thing. So, and another one called Don't Get Involved, which is just about what you go through when you're in a situation where you think you should act and you're not sure, and you just sort of say, should I do something about this? Or and it just lists off a bunch of things like that. So I was kind of going for stuff like that as well. I've also got a song. I'm doing a co-write actually with Eric Vangberg, who's he was the producer. Sorry, he was the guy who mixed Paul McCartney's Ram album in 1971.
Wow.
And it's a sort of random story. I heard him on a podcast, on a McCartney podcast, talking about that album, and I just reached out to him just to say hi, and he replied, asked me what I did. I said I write songs. He said send me some songs, and then he had this sort of thing that he wanted to do with artists, write a song from his knowledge of the business, and we've been doing this song called Healing Melody for the last year or so. We haven't finished it yet, and that's the one that we're really trying to write a hit formula for this song. So I'm sort of getting his expertise. We're doing a 50-50 on the song, and I'm excited to get that one finished because I think that will be exciting. So
where do you think that shift you're talking about came from, about writing sort of quote unquote love songs or anti-love songs and then going into more protest songs? Do you think there's, and not a responsibility, but is that a place for artists to be, like a good place for artists to be?
yeah, I think I felt a little bit self-absorbed, I think, in a lot of songs. I mean, and I wanted to stop sort of talking, just talking about my personal life and my problems. I did. I sort of thought, I do have views. Sometimes it's a bit like, your personality comes into this. I'm not one to have a political conversation at a party or at a dinner table. Or, I sort of, and I don't post anything on Facebook. I try to stay neutral on all these things. So if I ever do it, it would be like a sort of a veiled thing. And I was always a little afraid to do it. And I think this time I thought, well, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna put some of my views in this and try and make it not blatantly obvious, but so maybe a maturity thing or age thing. I'm just only now becoming mature or something. I don't know.
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
I know, it's not worth it. Next
It's a scam.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the terrible love songs next time.
Yeah.
Are you happy with them, the protest songs?
Yeah, I am. Like I said, when you talk about getting Spotify listens, and I have to sort of keep myself separate from being concerned about, is this going to be really popular? I in some ways I just want to get something out there, and and maybe have one or two songs as a platform. But I personally, I'm happy. Yeah, I'm really happy with the lyrics and the performances so far. And if it's has far-reaching effect, great. If it doesn't, then I'm still happy.
Are you writing every day? Like, do you have, or so you go in spurts and?
I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm prolific. I do go in phases where I don't do anything, and I just work on. I sort of want to get out of the way what I'm already doing to free up my brain for other things. So I can sometimes go a month or more without writing anything. And I want to get my pace better, but I just know myself. Some people have that ability to just get up in the morning and write. And I envy those people. I want to be more committed to that. But honestly, it's a slow process for me.
Well, and it's an important thing to discover about yourself. Like, where is your peak creativity? Is it in the morning? Is it late at night? Is it after dinner? Is where, when does it happen? And do you go for long spurts, or are you better off visiting things, here and there? Like, it's a good thing for any songwriter to just recognize your strengths and what works for you and gets stuff done.
Yeah, I record stuff all the time. I'm always got, when I say I don't do any songwriting, I do very frequently make recordings, if I'm driving, or here's a song idea.
Oh.
But then I might take a while before I think, okay, I better collect these all together and do something with it, right? So I need to get that sped up a little bit. Yeah.
So you talked a little bit about more recently changing your lyrical content. Have you changed your music or your approach as well over the last couple of records, or to this one?
I would say, because I've been using Logic Pro and buying a lot of plugins and virtual instruments, as we
all do.
As we all do. Black Friday just went by again, and
I didn't buy a single thing.
Oh, I tried to hold back, but I think I got sound.
I deleted every ad. I didn't want to get.
I know. I stopped. I started ignoring them after a while.
Yeah.
The thing is, even if you buy it, they still send you ads to buy it. Yeah. But anyway, so I've got Omnisphere, which is a great tool, and a few other synths. So I have been working with keyboard sounds, and actually making. And I never really did that on my last album from 7 years ago. I was very much guitar driven, so. And a bit resistant to using drum machines. I still have live drums in all the songs, but I will add some loops and drum machines as well. So I am trying to be more awake to sounds. I say new sounds. A lot of these sounds are actually from the 80s. It's funny how TR-808 is now a new instrument, but it was. Not a new instrument, So
true.
Only 40 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
I know, right? It is funny. I sort of wonder, looking ahead, like how it can change again. Like what are we going to be hearing in 10 years from now? Is it going to be anything very different from this, or is it going to be? 90s
I
come
wonder what
back.
Maybe
MIDI
90s coming
2.0
back,
will
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2020s will be coming back.
2020 is becoming back.
But I do think, because I mean, the reason music has changed to the way it is now is because of accessibility, right? So because now you can make a track on a computer in a second. So you've got millions of people doing this, good and bad, But in the 70s and 80s, you had to be really good, first of all, to get signed and be given an advance, So really complex things like Steely Dan, we were talking about earlier, could have a hit record, and that probably wouldn't happen. You couldn't, no matter how good you are, I don't think you would get a hit song in the style of Steely Dan today. You kind of have to get people's attention quickly. So it's changed. I don't know if that will ever change again, but that's kind of where we
There's
are.
certain vocal sounds that seem to be required to make hit songs now, like a bit of auto-tune and certain vocal melodies, where people who can sing really well still will process their vocals just so it sounds like current music. It's a strange
Right. It does.
thing.
It does make it a bit homogeneous, right? You don't hear a lot of. You don't like. I think we heard a lot of very different voices in the past, and now we hear Adele, obviously, and Billie Eilish, and The Weeknd, But some voices. You're expected to sound a certain way, like as you say, right, and have those same effects put on the voices and the reverb and the delay, So
And it's
But
even
that's-
in country music is the same thing. There's a country music voice sound now. I've been driving a fair bit and switching through radio stations, and there's the pop radio station sound, but there's also a country music, the pop country music sound has a very distinctive vocal and drum sound as well. It sounds very, I don't know, calculated.
processed.
Well, I don't know the thing that I've become acutely aware of now. I got this year. I got a Native Instruments A series keyboard, and it's got a scale function, which I never had on a MIDI controller before. So you can literally pick your scale, whether you want a major scale, minor scale, Mixolydian, Dorian, whatever mode you want, and then you just play the white keys, and it maps
Oh yeah.
the different scales onto your thing, right? And I've seen a post last week on Facebook on one of the home studio recording groups where the person was like, "Well, I can play on my keyboard in C, but what if I want the song to be in G? Like, how do I transpose it, right?" But the thing that occurs to me about it is no one seems to contemplate the idea of going out of key within a song. If your song is in this key,
Oh,
it's in
right.
this key, and you're going to stay there for the 3.5 minute duration, you're never going to contemplate going somewhere else for the bridge, going somewhere else for
No.
pre-chorus.
No, right. It's not.
And that to me is what's really changed.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm a real fan of that. I like key changes. I like key, bridge in a different key, and coming back again, or finding a interesting way to change the key and come back. I still do that. And I know that's not fashionable, but you're right. It's almost like it's not even consideration. Like it would be deadly to your hit song to do that. Right?
It would,
Like
yeah.
it would just confuse people. So why would you put black notes on the keyboard if you're in C?
You only need
know?
the white keys. That's it. You can
You
play in
only
any
need the white keys.
play in any mode.
Yeah, or a mode. That's right. Not even a major scale. Yeah, just a modal scale. Yeah, yeah. That's an interesting thing.
So let's talk a little bit about working like a charm. Can you talk about the genesis of this song? Where did it come from?
Yeah, that was a relationship song. That's actually
yes.
about my see, but I veiled it somehow. But it's about my current partner actually, and you, and it just sort of says how when you meet somebody, like we met when we were in other relationships and we didn't get together right away. So it's just about how you got to sort of figure out your complicated stuff. You've both got lives, and then you figure out a way to make it work, and at first, it was a good relationship. I exaggerated it a little bit, but just saying things didn't work out at first, and we had to figure out our night and day schedules working, or food that we like, and just little things. I put a lot of sound effects in it. I was sort of playing around with sound effects in that one. I had a scream I had the Edvard Munch Scream reference and Captain Kirk. And so I was kind of having fun with sound effects, putting all these little things in there, which you wouldn't hear actually when I play acoustically, obviously. But so that's kind of where that came from, and that was a riff that I played on the piano. And
how did you line up one with the other? You began with the riff on the piano. Did you have this concept for a song in the back of your mind and be like, this riff sounds like that concept, or was it just sort of?
Not really. It was like a leftover riff. I had a whole sort of bunch of riffs and trying to find something that went with it. And I just had this, it's working like a charm line, that went with it. So that was as much as it was fitting. It wasn't like it was the only thing that could have gone with it. But for that particular song, I just sang this line and thought, okay, I can, and that's the one I wrote everything I could think of in 3 minutes about what works like a charm, So that's kind of how I got the words. I went to a camp or somebody's lake retreat. There's nobody around in a little cabin for like 3 or 4 days, and that's when I had the piece. That's another thing. Getting out of the city, getting out of your mind, or getting out of your busy life, that really helps, and that did in that case. So.
Interesting. Okay. Shall we take a listen to it and then we'll
try it? Yes.
talk a little bit more? Oh, you're going to play it live. That's right. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I had to figure out an open tuning actually to play it. I never played this on guitar because it's a piano.
It's a piano song. Yeah.
So I actually worked out an open tuning so it can work now, which is kind of a nice project.
What's the tuning?
It is. It's like a cello from the beginning, C, G, D, and then that's G as well. B flat, and that's D again. Yeah, so it's whatever chord you would call that.
Very cool.
It's a nice chord. Yeah. So it ends up being in B on here. All right, so I'll give it a whirl. It wasn't perfect when we met. The stars aligned, no big sunset. No choir of angels ever sang hallelujah. We both had baggage, both had lives, weaving plots all intertwined. No Y&R and General Hospital combined. But look at us now, we're a well-oiled machine, the Lamborghini of relationships. If I'm Captain Kirk, you're Lieutenant Uhura, would be martinis. If we were cocktail drinks, it was hard work at first. Now it's working like a charm. It was hard work at first. Now it's working like a charm. I work nights and you work days. I'm getting up, you hit the hay. Sometimes you say goodbye, I say hello. You're impatient, I stay calm. You can sing, but I can dance. You say pepper, I say jalapeno. But look at us now, we're a constable landscape. No longer Edvard Munch's scream. We knocked out the dance and souped up the engine. Now it drives like a dream. But it was hard work at first. Now it's working like a charm. It was hard work at first. Now it's working like a charm.
charm.
Very
Ooh,
nice.
awesome.
That's great.
Thanks,
Great
Evan.
stuff.
And so neat to hear it on two completely different instruments from hearing the recorded version and then this. And also
right,
being
yeah.
able to see what you're playing too. I really like the verse chords, the way it drops down in the middle of the chord structure. It's got a
Yeah,
really
thank
cool
you.
sound.
Yeah, because it's those cluster chords. You can't do that on a guitar, right? It's like adjacent keys on the piano that you can't do.
No.
That's
So
what
to
I was
get
gonna
that-
say. It sounds like a piano chord progression because of all the bloody half steps going on.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
'cause
It's
yeah,
got
that
kind of
kind
a
of
Radiohead feel to it in that second note.
Oh, you're right.
But then the vocal
yeah.
is very squeezed, much more when it's with an acoustic guitar. But yeah, just a really interesting song.
No, thank you. Yeah, the Paranoid Android influence for sure. I can hear that little. That won't work on here, but yeah.
Yeah, not with that tuning.
Not with this year. Yeah.
Interesting approach with the lyrics is that you didn't have any super close or super tight rhymes. I mean, you had very sort of
Yeah.
kind of very soft rhymes, but it wasn't like, like the way Sting does those super tight rhymes, you know?
Yeah, I did throw caution to the wind a bit in terms of that in this song. Yeah, other times I will try harder to get perfect rhymes, but it was such a smorgasbord of ideas that I was coming up with. I went with the images rather than the rhymes. I mean, I got martini and Lamborghini or stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of multisyllabic words here, and somehow everything seems pretty smooth. Like there's not, for the, I don't want to say the lyric is awkward, but some of it seems like it might be hard to sing, like Captain Kirk and Lieutenant Uhura. Like,
Yeah,
how do you
right,
sing
it's
that? But
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
have to
well,
pull
I
it
read
off.
the lyrics before I listened to the song, and I go, "How the hell is he going to sing this?" But
Okay, well, it's
it
interesting.
doesn't
right?
sound
Yeah.
as thorny when it comes out of your mouth. Definitely.
And I for me the sound effects add something to it too, because everything I say there's a sound effect to go with it. So that was kind of the two go hand in hand, but obviously it doesn't work on the guitar. So,
No, but the melody shapes and things and the way the syllables fall still works.
Yeah.
Sound effect or no sound effect. Like, but it does make me wonder, like the references. Like I don't know if this is a normal thing for you. Like, can you assume that everybody knows who Captain Kirk, and especially maybe everyone knew who Captain Kirk is, but I don't know if everyone knows who Lieutenant Uhura is.
Lieutenant Uhura. No,
know.
and that was sort of a reference to Anju, because she looks like Lieutenant Uhura. So it was sort of that, that's a sort of a in hidden reference that nobody
Yeah,
would
yeah.
necessarily know. So yeah,
I don't know.
it's just a kind of a fun. It's a not really a sensible, meaningful song. It's
No.
kind of a fluffy, a relationship, but a different take on a relationship. I didn't want it to be a love song. I wanted it to be we're getting over complications and now it's working kind of song. That was kind of what I was trying to
Yeah,
go for.
and that
just
and that,
picking
and
things
that
out
comes
of
across. But it's those references to the comparisons and things to other pop culture things and societal things that makes it kind of fun.
yeah.
Well, and it's an interesting approach because, it can be hard to talk about things that are not sort of specifically emotions in
Right.
terms of, I hate you, I love you. So you used a lot of metaphors, like, the Lamborghini of relationships, you used,
Yeah.
and I thought that's a really interesting way of approaching that, as opposed to being, we had trouble, but now we're in love, or, something
To
that's
state
so,
it plainly is maybe
it's a little bit more clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, because the opening was, there was stars, no hallelujah. You know, it was very ordinary. You know, and I guess I kind of wanted to make it.
Oh dear.
Oh, did you freeze?
It's a wonderful relationship, but it came together. It came together, you know, on not perfect setting. That's all. Yeah, it wasn't perfect. You know. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely the melody shapes, you know, it's people don't write melody shapes like that. Now I think that's a style, and you know, there was a style in the 80s, you know, early 80s versus, you know, late 80s. The same with the, you know, the 90s, early 90s. Like they all have a style. And, you know, there was a time that if you didn't have a gated snare on your song, you weren't going to have a hit. So, you know, it's the present style thing is not especially unique. I mean, in the 50s, you know, everyone had the doo-wop. I mean, that's
true.
It was. So
if you want to have a hit song, yeah, there were rules you have to abide by. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We have to make sure that we don't turn into those. I remember when I was a kid, we pogoed all day. We didn't have this.
Get off my lawn. How much how much editing did you go through on this song, Greg?
Oh, you mean like editing the structure of the song?
Anything, lyrics, structure.
Yeah, messing with the arrangements. How did it change from when you conceived it till it's in its shape now?
Well, it was, yeah, actually I performed it the first time with the band, and it was just that riff the whole way through. Like I was actually trying to be, you know, simple and never change it. You know, so it'd be like that, and then I'd sing a chorus over the same chords. You know, but it just got the better of me. I was bored with it. Like I was just bored with it. Like it just wasn't interesting enough to me to never change it. So then I had this, and I wanted the big power chord, you know, in the chorus, you know, something like that. So I put in that chorus. So I did, you know, even though we played it, I think within a few months I changed it, you know, and then the bridge, was a chance just to have the drums have some stuff to do as well, because I wanted a sort of a drum fill. So I think it was necessity to cure my boredom of no chorus, and have Troy have something to do, and have a little solo. I mean, solos too, right? Who has guitar solos?
Yeah, it's true.
I put one of those in there too.
Yeah, and on the record, the solo at the end is really long. It's like half.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, so self-indulgent. It was probably a good thing for this particular song.
Oh, it's interesting you said that, because you heard us at the beginning of the show talking about our songwriting challenge. That was our challenge last year, is write a song where the chord progression never changes.
Oh, okay, yes. Which I have done. My song "Healing Melody" actually is in that vein. So at some point, I'll hopefully get you to hear that one.
Yeah.
Sure.
Good,
so,
yeah.
But yeah, no.
Okay, but in terms of the lyrics or anything like that, was there a lot of back and forth, or did it kind of pour out?
Yeah, like say, like in those sessions where I was writing stuff down in the book, I kept a lot of that. You know, and then the reference to the painting, the
Scream.
Edvard Munch's Scream?
Edvard Munch's Scream, yeah, the famous.
But yeah, I think I kept a lot of it because it was the inspiration at the time was better than I could revise it afterwards. You know, so I didn't edit the words a lot. You know, just
nice.
And it's fairly short. It's only really two verses, no bridge.
Yeah, there's not a lot of lyrics actually when you look at it.
Well, and because it's interesting, it's the song is 4 minutes and 26 seconds, which is it's a fairly long song, and it's something I've been playing around with, going, you know, write a song and you know, I always do intro, verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, end, just because that's what I do.
Yeah, and I usually do too, the chorus, the bridge.
And then I'm thinking, well, is that too long? And then you take out the second verse and go, well, I guess it kind of still works. And then you know, and then I'm just not sure if it works better, because I'm thinking, 4 minutes is too long. But it's not really, if there's enough interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, because I was bringing stuff in bit by bit. You know, I mean, at one time it was the song never changed, so it wouldn't have gone anywhere else. So it would just have, the guitar comes in, the vocals come in, and then I guess I just kept that when I added the chorus, the fact that it's got lots of stuff coming in bit by bit.
Yeah.
But I probably could cut it in half, the guitar solo.
You could have the radio edit. It would be 3 minutes and change.
That's right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
You could cut the guitar solos. Nobody wants to hear that.
Nobody wants to hear those anymore. I know.
They'll come back. They'll come back in style. Everything comes back.
True.
We need more
Songs are
guitarists.
just
We need more.
solos.
Yeah, we need more guitarists. In
We do
general,
need more guitar solos.
right? We don't have enough famous new guitarists.
That's true.
No.
Yeah, I mean, when was the last time? John Mayer, I can't think who's come after him. Not many, right? I mean, Joe Bonamassa, there's not a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Not
everyone doing the laptop stuff.
That's right. Yeah, which to be fair, is skillful, but it takes years to learn guitar.
That's true.
And the patience of people to maybe spend that time perfecting it, it's quicker and easier to work on the computer sometimes.
It's also, I think, when we start learning something, we need to give ourselves permission to suck.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like
Because you will have guitar at first.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to suck at something. Like there is some people who are naturally gifted at their chosen hobby or calling, but most people have to work pretty hard, and it's okay to sort of suck at the very beginning because that's how you get better.
Yeah. Remember that meme I saw on Facebook not too long ago? It was like a little thin book says how to learn how to play bass, and then a really massive, huge book how to learn how to play bass well.
Yeah, it's true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's so many intricacies, especially on people think bass, three notes, but I mean,
Yeah.
so much you
No.
can do on bass. Yeah.
Very
and,
true.
Yeah.
I'm
The
glad I
most
had the time.
interesting thing I heard from bass players is that, it's sort of a counter melody to the vocal melody. I'm like, oh, okay. No, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Greg, what's coming up for you next?
Well, I'm performing. I perform solo still quite a bit. That's my bread and butter. So I'm going to be playing around the bars and playing covers and my originals. Hoping to get the band when everybody feels safe to do so, and the virus doesn't get worse, and we don't get closed down. Hoping to get back into some of the places that we played before, and then get this recording done, and get the band out. The CNE comes back. I hope to get back there again, and maybe do some touring if we can get out. But it's a bit vague at the moment. It's just getting the album
Bit
finished.
up in the air, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that's about wraps it up for the show today. Thanks so much, Greg Wyard. Where can our listeners find out more about you and your music?
Well, my website is gregwyard.com, and I'm also
We should
at Greg
spell
Wyard.
that.
Oh, I
for
should, shouldn't I?
people who
Yes.
aren't
It's
watching.
not WIRD. It's GREGWYARD, like
Excellent.
Yard.
Yard. Okay, thank you so much. And we want to hear from you, our listeners. So please send us your comments, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Song Talk Radio, or send us an email, feedback@songtalk.ca. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel for live performance videos like we had tonight, and full episodes now that we're all in these virtual boxes. Subscribe today to the Song Talk Radio podcast on your favorite podcast provider. And don't forget to sign up for our free newsletter at songtalk.ca. You'll find links to all the products, books, and web services we mentioned on Song Talk Radio on our resources page at songtalk.ca. And wherever you are in the world, please join us online via Zoom at our next monthly Song Talk meetup. It's free to join on meetup.com and free to attend the meetup. Stop by songtalk.ca for the link. You can follow me at neilmodi.com. You can follow Phil.
PhilEmery.ca.
You can follow Michael.
Proudhood420 on Instagram.
And of course, gregwyard.com for all Greg's goodies. And thanks for listening, everybody. Be sure to stop by the website, songtalk.ca, to browse past shows and find out how you can be a guest. Stay safe, everybody, and keep on writing.
Good night, everyone.